I love to read mystery novels year-round, but the types of mystery novels that I gravitate towards change from season to season. Today, I'm here to share some mysteries that I think make for great spring reading. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome back to my reading life. As I mentioned in the intro, I love mysteries. I think if you've been here for any length of time, you already know that. I read a lot of mysteries. I read at least 1 or 2 mysteries every month, but the types of mysteries that I am drawn to vary throughout the year. And I've already shared some mystery series that I think make for great autumn reading. I've also shared some mysteries that I think are perfect for winter. And today I'm here to share some mysteries that I think are perfect for spring. Grab yourself a cuppa. I have quite a few mysteries to share with you today that I have read and loved. And I'm also going to share a few mysteries that I personally am hoping to read this spring. To start us off, I'm going to share some mysteries that I have read and really enjoyed. And I have a few standalone mysteries as well as a few series, so depending on what you are most interested in. The first mystery I'm going to share with you is one that I never hear talked about. And I actually read this when I was on my search to find more cozy adjacent mysteries. What I mean by cozy adjacent are mysteries that don't fall into the cozy mystery genre, nor are they a little bit grittier, more police procedural, that type of mystery, which I also enjoy, but sometimes I want something just a little bit lighter. Something like the Lady Hardcastle mysteries by T.E. Kinsey, or the Philida Bright mysteries by Colleen Cambridge. Those to me are perfect examples of what I mean by cozy adjacent. And this standalone mystery is by an author that I had read before and very much enjoyed. And I had this book sitting on my shelf for so many years. I had bought it, I think for $1 on the clearance cart at Half Price Books. And when I finally picked it up and read it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And that mystery is The Pigeon Pie Mystery by Julia Stewart. And this is such a fun, unique mystery. In this, we are following Mink, and Mink is a princess from India. Her father has passed away, and she is now destitute. This is set during the Victorian era, and Queen Victoria herself kind of rescues Mink and puts her into Hampton Court Palace. So she allows her to live there, and Hampton Court is full of all kinds of eccentric characters who live there and work there, and Mink moves in with her, I think it's her maid, Pookie. I love their names, so fun. And there is a picnic that happens, and Pookie bakes a pigeon pie for it. And one of the most disliked residents of Hampton Court dies after eating said pigeon pie. And of course, Pookie is the main suspect, but Mink doesn't think she did it. And so she spends the course of the book trying to clear Pookie's name and find out who the murderer really is. And this was so much fun. It reads a little bit more like a novel than a straight mystery, and I actually enjoyed that about it very much. It is set during March and April, so this is the perfect time of year to read it. I absolutely love this cover. And if you've read any of Julia Stewart's other books, she wrote The Tower, the Zoo, and the Tortoise, which I absolutely love and am overdue for a reread. But if you've enjoyed her other books, definitely read The Pigeon Pie Mystery. This is such a fun and unique take on the mystery novel. It also includes both a cast of characters and, one of my favorite things in a book, a map, of course. But I definitely recommend reading this one if you are looking for a book that is a little bit more complex than your basic cozy mystery, but isn't graphic and has such fun, quirky characters. Then I recommend giving The Pigeon Pie Mystery a read. Next up, I have the first book in a mystery series. And while this one is actually, I think, set more in the autumn, it just feels spring-like to me, probably because of the central character in these mysteries. And that is The Tale of Hilltop Farm by Susan Wittig Albert. These are the cottage tales of Beatrix Potter. I don't know why Beatrix Potter always makes me think of springtime, probably because of Peter Rabbit and all of her little animal stories that she wrote, and they always just feel very springy. And this book is no exception. So in this one, we are following Beatrix as she is first purchasing and moving into Hilltop Farm and getting acclimated to the surrounding area and her neighbors, meeting people, and then one of the villagers dies. And so we have a bit of a mystery. What's unique about this series is that there are animals in it, and the animals speak amongst themselves. So you hear the animals' thoughts and conversations with one another. They are not able to interact with humans in an anthropomorphic way, so humans still view them as animals, but they do sort of help the mystery along. And I am very much looking forward to continuing on with this series, as you will see in just a few minutes, but I definitely recommend this one. Again, this one leans almost a little bit cozier, but I think it's still cozy adjacent in my book. The writing in this is fantastic. I sometimes struggle with cozy mysteries, and I'm going to make a generalization here, but I don't mean every cozy mystery, but a lot of the times I find the writing isn't what I want it to be. Let's just leave it at that. But this one most definitely is. Next up, I'm going to share two books from the Queen of Mystery herself, Miss Agatha Christie. And first up, I always think that the Miss Marple mysteries, for some reason, just feel more spring-like to me. I don't know if it's because St. Marymead is like a small village, and I feel like being in a small village in the English springtime just seems lovely. Even if the mysteries aren't set during the spring, I just am more drawn to Miss Marple in the springtime than I am some of her other mysteries, which I'm more drawn to in summer, fall, and winter. But first up, I want to recommend the complete short stories of Miss Marple, and you really can't go wrong with any of the Miss Marple short stories. I think they're all fabulous. Not all of these are set in springtime, but some of them are, and for some reason, I just picture Miss Marple out in her garden in the springtime, or sitting doing some knitting next to an open window where the spring breeze is coming in, and I'm just drawn to these mysteries at this time of year. And if that sounds good to you, then I definitely recommend any of the Miss Marple mysteries. A couple that I think come to the top of my mind are the first Miss Marple mystery, which is The Body in the Vicarage. The Body in the Vicarage? The Murder at the Vicarage? Murder at the Vicarage. I'll put the correct title here on the screen. And also A Pocketful of Rye. For some reason, those two are the two novels of hers that come to the top of my mind when I think of Miss Marple books I want to read in spring, but absolutely the complete short stories is up there as well. Now, as for Poirot mysteries, I definitely find myself more drawn to Poirot in summer, autumn, and winter. However, this particular mystery of his, I'm going to recommend for spring. It might be because I first read it in the springtime, but something about it, there's sort of a redemption story happening in this one, and it just makes me think of sort of spring and rebirth and regeneration and all of those things that we think of as sort of coming back to life in the spring. And I think this book has that as a theme running through it, and that is Sad Cypress. And this is actually a little bit different of a setup for Agatha Christie. We start with a court case where a woman is on trial for a murder, and she is found guilty and is going to be hanged, and Poirot doesn't think she did it. And he's under the clock to figure out who the murderer actually is, or did she do it, and is he incorrect? So we go back in time and kind of go back to the start of the mystery, but it starts with this present day court case. I was riveted to this mystery. I could not put it down. It is one of my very favorites. I've shared this before. It's definitely in my top 5 Agatha Christie's of all time, and I definitely think it makes for a great spring mystery read. I can hear the birds chirping outside. I'm going to need to open my window. We're having a beautiful spring day here today. Little sip of tea and then we'll continue on. Next up, I have another standalone mystery, or really this is what I would call a romantic suspense by my favorite author of that subgenre, Mary Stewart. And the book of hers that I am going to recommend for spring is The Ivy Tree. I mean, look at that cover. It just looks like spring, doesn't it? This one is so very fun and is actually set in England. Many of her romantic suspense novels take us to exotic locations, but this one does not. In this, we are at White Scar, which is a mansion in Roman wall territory, and we have a young woman who is impersonating the missing heir to the family's fortune. And we follow Mary, our main character, as she is impersonating Annabelle Winslow. And of course, this sparks some jealousy, some long buried secrets, and all the good stuff that you expect from a Mary Stewart book. And I love this one. This is one that I am long overdue also for a reread. This is definitely going on my spring TBR because I absolutely love Mary Stewart, and I think The Ivy Tree, which is set in springtime, makes for a perfect spring mystery read, especially if you're looking for something that's got a good propulsive plot to it. I always love Mary Stewart's denouements. She really knows how to drive the action home at the end of her stories, and The Ivy Tree is no exception. Up next, I have a book in one of my favorite mystery series, the Lady Hardcastle mysteries. And I'm going to recommend to you the second book in the series, which is In the Market for Murder. And this is set during the spring of 1909. And we have a farmer who is killed. I believe he is poisoned while he is at the local pub. And of course, it is up to Lady Hardcastle and Flo to find out who has murdered him. Now, I do recommend reading the Lady Hardcastle mysteries in order, but since this is only the second book in the series, if you've already read book 1, well, you are in the perfect spot to read this book during spring. But if you haven't, I think you can easily get through book 1 and read book 2 during the spring months. They are very short, and I highly recommend these on audio. They are read by Elizabeth Nolden, and she is a fantastic narrator. She brings these characters to life, and I absolutely adore her narration of this series. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a perfect example of what I am looking for in a cozy adjacent mystery series. I'm so excited. There is a new book coming out in May. You better believe I have already pre-ordered it, and I cannot wait to spend more time with Lady Hardcastle and Flo. But if you want to meet them and fall in love with them, then In the Market for Murder is a perfect spring read. Next up, I'm going to recommend a mystery series, which I have talked about before. It is, again, another favorite of mine in that cozy adjacent mystery space, and that is the Hamish Macbeth mysteries by MCB. And Hamish Macbeth is sort of the palate cleanser mystery that I turn to whenever I'm kind of between books and I'm not really sure what to pick up next, or I don't know what I'm in the mood for. Hamish always fits the bill. He is the main police officer in his village, and Hamish doesn't have much ambition. He is perfectly content to plod along being the village police officer and not moving up in the ranks, even though he is actually really good at his job. So he appears lazy at first glance, but he's actually an excellent police officer. These mysteries are wonderful. I love Hamish. He's such a fun character. I love all of the people you get to meet in the village. You get to get really annoyed by his superior officer who really hates Hamish and does everything he can to thwart him at every turn. And I just find this mystery series, it's just the perfect pick-me-up. And in springtime, I think that's what I'm looking for. Something to pick me up and lift my spirits, and you can't go wrong with Hamish Macbeth. Again, this is another mystery series. I think it's best to read in order, though you could potentially read these out of order, though you may have to do some kind of catching up in terms of Hamish's personal life. But I don't think it's that essential to the mysteries themselves. So you can dive in at any point. Again, I think these are wonderful on audio, and they're another great mystery series to dive into in the spring. Next, I have the most recent cozy adjacent mystery series that I have fallen in love with, and I think it makes for perfect spring reading, and that is the Her Royal Spyness Mysteries by Rhys Bowen. In this, we are following Lady Georgiana Rannoch. She is something like 36th in line for the throne. Set in England during the 1930s, we follow Georgie. Again, she is of the sort of royal family, but very distantly related. And Georgie doesn't have very much money. Her particular family, they are quite poor. And Georgie takes it upon herself to try to make her own way in life, and she ends up getting embroiled in some mysteries, usually at the behest of the Queen. Georgie's father is part of the royal family, but her mother is of more humble origins. She has a grandfather who was a police officer and helps Georgie when she gets involved in these mysteries. And then Georgie also runs a sort of house cleaning service. Like if the well-to-do need somebody to come open their London house up because they've been in the country, she will come in and do that. And she's always trying not to get caught by people that she knows in the aristocracy. These are just good fun. I've read the first two so far. I'm excited to move on to book 3. Again, another series that is wonderful on audio. I just love Georgie. She is such a fun character. This is a very long series, so you have lots of books to read in this. I am so looking forward to moving on, but I just think Georgie is like a breath of fresh air, and what more could you want in springtime than a breath of fresh air? These are wonderful mysteries, again, very cozy adjacent, and I am loving working my way through the Royal Spyness series. And then I have one final mystery series that I think makes for wonderful reading in the springtime, and that is the Cat Who series by Lillian Jackson Braun. This is not the first book in the series. I don't have that book on my shelf, even though I have read it. That is The Cat Who Could Read Backwards, is the first book in the series. But in this, we follow Jim Quillerin. He is a newspaper columnist, and of course, he's got cats. And he kind of gets involved in these mysteries. These are very light. These almost lean a little bit more into the cozy mystery genre than they do into the cozy adjacent, but they're right there kind of on that borderline. I have read a number of these books throughout the year. I think you can read these out of order. I certainly did, though again, I think the personal relationships, you will follow them over the course of the series, so probably worthwhile to read them in order. That is what I am planning to do, actually. I am going to start working my way through this series again. I have been collecting some of the books as I stumble across them, but I just recently ordered from Thrift Books the first 3 books in the Cat Who series, and I'm hoping to reread them this spring and into summer. But these are just, again, they're very light. They are just easy, fun reads. And if you like mysteries, if you like cats, definitely give the Cat Who series a read. I don't hear these talked about much anymore. They were very, very popular a few decades ago, and I still think that they are worth a read. Those are all the books that I have read and recommend as wonderful spring mysteries. And now I have 3 books that I personally am looking forward to reading this spring. And first up, I always think that middle grade mysteries make for great spring reading. I mean, one, we have middle grade March happening right now, and it's the perfect time to pick up a middle grade mystery. And I'm still looking for a really fantastic middle grade mystery series. Something that's going to draw me in like the Nancy Drew mysteries did when I was a kid. And I have high hopes for this mystery series. And that is Murder is Bad Manners by Robin Stevens. So my edition says this is a Wells and Wong mystery, but these have since been rebranded, I believe, as Murder Most Unladylike. I believe that is the series name of these books now, but we have two young girls at boarding school and they solve mysteries. So this is the first book in the series, and I actually have, I think it's the fourth book, which is set at Christmas time, on my shelf also. So if I enjoy this one, then I need to get books 2 and 3, and then I can also read the Christmas mystery. But this one I think is actually set in the autumn. Oh look, it's got like a map of the school on the inside. Love that. And yet I still think I want to read this in spring. It just feels like it's going to be that kind of light, fun, not too taxing type of mystery. And I am really hoping that I love this because I'm looking for a good middle grade mystery series to spend some time with. So let us see what I think of this one. And then next is a book that I shared in my March Pile of Possibilities video, and that is Crook o' Loon by E.C.R. Lorac. I mean, I think this just screams spring to me. This is, of course, set during the spring, and it starts out, and I think there is some sheep stealing that's happening. And then E.C.R. Lorac's main detective, who is Chief Inspector Robert McDonald, and he is on holiday, and then there is a fire at a local house. I'm not sure, I think maybe somebody dies. And so his holiday turns into a busman's holiday as he gets drawn into figuring out who started the fire and what is going on. So I haven't read any of E.C.R. Lorac's Inspector McDonald mysteries yet, so I'm excited to meet him, and hopefully I enjoy him because I have some other E.C.R. Lorac mysteries on my shelf that I am looking forward to reading. But I think this will make a great spring read since it's set in the springtime. It's all about sheep stealing. I mean, what could be more spring-like in a mystery than that? And then finally, I have the second book in a mystery series that I have already talked about in this video, and it's been a couple of years since I read the first book, and I really, really want to read the second book this spring, and that is The Tale of Holly Howe by Susan Wittig Albert, and this is book 2 in the Cottage Tales of Beatrix Potter. And in this one, it sounds like a local shepherd has been having his fair share of troubles, and then he is found dead, and Beatrix Potter takes it upon herself, I think, to find out what happens. And of course, her little animal friends all get involved in it as well. And yes, I'm just very much looking forward to continuing on with this series. It is just so light and lovely. And as I said earlier, I just think Beatrix Potter and springtime go together. So very much looking forward to reading this, hopefully in April. And that will do it for my spring mystery recommendations. Let us chat down in the comments. Have you found any mysteries in this video that you're excited to add to your spring TBR or pile of possibilities? And what are some of your favorite mysteries to read in the springtime? I'm always looking for mysteries to add to my list to read, so let us share those recommendations down in the comments below. And if you're here but you don't have anything that you would like to add in the comments, but you'd like to let me know that you were here, of course, let's leave a spring emoji. So maybe some flowers, maybe some sheep, some baby chicks, a bunny, anything that screams spring to you. Let us fill the comments with a spring breath of fresh air. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it here with me. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would hit that like button and also now that hype button on the YouTube mobile app. And if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed, but you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and join my cozy bookish community. Thank you for all the lovely comments on my recent videos, and extra thank you to those of you who pushed the super thanks button as well. I so appreciate that extra bit of support. And as always, I'll be back with another video very soon. And until then, I wish you a good spring mystery and a warm cuppa. Bye!